just stand over here if that's all right. How y'all doing tonight? All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron, for having me. Laura, thank you so much. It must have been 2,000 emails that I sent back and forth to them, but really appreciate the time and everybody paying attention to me for a couple of minutes. Basically, Labrador Connect is a company I conceived back in 2008. And the idea is very simple. It's based on my own personal experiences of interacting with salespeople and finding that there is one indisputable fact. They are extremely good at their day-to-day jobs, but the second it comes to facilitating innovation, they look like a deer in headlights. And the fact is that studies been done by Harvard Business Review and several different authors that prove this fact, even through surveys of Fortune 500 companies. So Labrador combines thought leadership with professional services, building technology with real estate professionals, not just for them. And in doing so, we best ensure that we're going to help them succeed with the mission in remaining relevant and competitive as millennials become more and more prevalent as buyers today. And why is that? Why is this so important? Well, I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes if you don't mind. You don't have to really. But imagine you're a 57-year-old white woman, if you don't mind for a second, and this is what they look like. Whenever, I don't know about you, but when I think of a 57-year-old white woman looking at an iPad, I basically picture this. And at the same time, when I think about millennials, I picture this. And when we look at that discrepancy and we realize that they are indeed the fastest growing population of home buyers in the country, we know that 90% prefer text message and prefer email as their preferred method of communication. Email with the 57-year-old is likely still the AOL app that they haven't made in, 15 years or so. So what we do is we've identified the fact that agents need our support. Residential real estate agents have plenty of support when it comes to lead acquisition. We all know Zillow, we all know Realtor.com, but what they don't have is the next step. They don't have a solution to help them in nurturing their leads, in building their relationships, and most importantly, remaining relevant throughout the entire sales process. And as a result of that, we built the Labrador Connect platform with real estate agents, sitting down with them and realizing their biggest problems are that they say that systems are too complicated. They tell us that they require too much customization, such as Salesforce.com. They don't offer solutions to their everyday needs and the proficiencies that they require. How many people in this room alone are as good at copywriting as they are graphic design, as they are at sales, as they are? You can't be all things. You need support. And so sitting with real estate agents, and we sat with over 100 of them, this represents the basically consensus of them. They need tools focused on simplicity, collaboration, engagement, and co-creation. And because I don't have the time here, I want to invite anybody who'd like to after the presentations to be able to come over to me. I have my iPad. I could show you some screenshots of the platform that we've built. And we're building it with a team that's been together for 7 years that collectively have helped the other professionals in the media industry increase their net revenue from the previous fiscal year by 75% by employing the logic of we have to help them in facilitating the innovations of tomorrow. And through the meetings that we've had, we have met with Chris Polychron, president of the NAR, Charlie Oppler, who is another president of the NAR, Eric Hantman, who you went to school with, Aaron, and also a lot of different agents from representations of all different agencies, all of which are very excited to work with us. They've seen the screenshots and met with us. So as part of this conversation with these real estate agents, they all ask us, where could we get it? How do we start? Labrador Connect has only one competitor that we've identified, Boomtown. We are not competitors with these other companies. They're low price, but as an independent contractor, real estate agent, to get somebody to come in and help them in customizing Salesforce.com as needed is extremely expensive and very difficult to maintain, and it's hard to use at the end of the day anyway. What we want to do is we want to build our framework, our UI and UX, and a prototype versus a basic minimal viable product. To build an MVP with this audience, understanding this demographic is an exercise of utility. We need to be able to, we don't have to have every bell and whistle, but we need to make sure that it's built in a way that conforms to their varying proficiencies. Think about the woman we saw earlier in the deck. We have to be sensitive to that. 3-month term after that is beta launch with these folks that have already committed to working with us, and intellectual property filing, and a sensitivity analysis on pricing. Based on our business model, one concern that we've had is, what do we sell, subscriptions or do we sell seats? I'm not sure which is the better value, because of the anonymous data we plan to sell as part of our system. The more users we have, the more interactions in the system, the more valuable the data. So we want to perform a lot of financial analysis in order to figure out the right solution. It looks like a total of $1.5 million is needed for us to be cash positive, but we are really looking at this point for $500,000 to get us through the prototyping and get us launched into beta and through beta. As I mentioned, the business model, we have self-service and full-service models based on the size of the brokerage or if it's an independent agent. And then we also sell additional services such as advertising. One big complaint about agents is one agent can advertise on someone else's Zillow account. But we don't do that. What we want to do is we want to focus on Home Depot that cares about people that are moving into their neighborhood and make sure that they have all of the tools and things they need to be successful in their transition to a new neighborhood. So our high-level gross projections, which we've had professionals in the NAR, National Association of Realtors, tell us is actually an understatement, by year 5 getting us around $25 million. That's basically Labrador Connect in a nutshell. I wish I had the time to really show you the screens that go along with the system. But what I can tell you is this. I have met with so many real estate agents from across the country, transcending a single psychographic and demographic profile, making sure that what we've built is going to help them succeed with the mission as they continue to struggle, where 45% of them do not respond to website inquiries that are brought to their site. 45%. There's a lot of money to be had for these agents, and they all commit to being within the industry for at least the next 5 years based on surveys. So with that, I'd love to take your questions, and so very much appreciate you having me here today and for the pizza. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Where's the challenge in responding to those email inquiries?
It's a great question. So the challenge in responding to the email inquiries for you and me, and for many of us here, there isn't one. But what happens is a couple of things. First, you have agents that are looking for specific, let's say a person inquires about the site, they want to know about specific information on a geographic region, or they want to know about a neighborhood or something of that nature. The agent now has to go and find that information, then send it back to the person. That information is not at their fingertips. With Labrador Connect, we actually put that information within the system and it's updated in real time. So likely the customer would never actually have to ask for the agent for the information. They'd find it themselves, but if not, the agent would have it at their fingertips to respond immediately. But what happens with these agents, again, based on speaking with them, is they get bogged down with their daily activities and then they wind up not responding. 30% of agents don't respond because they don't know how to attach something to an email. And you consider that fact, it's one of these moments that we want to really be able to help them. The existing technologies that exist, the adoption rate for them is abysmal. And the reason is that these agents don't want to use it. They don't know how. It's too confusing for them. So they still print out those MLS pieces of paper that I'm sure you've all seen if you ever bought or sold a home. They're still using those despite the fact there are solutions, because the technology is not built for them to help them. I hope that answers your question.
Just to follow, will the intelligence about the demographics and the areas relative to school systems, et cetera, be built in somehow to the system?
Yes.
Like a la niche.com, you're familiar?
I'm not familiar with them, no, I'm sorry. But any of these systems that exist out there, I should say not any, but the grand majority, are using a system called Onboard Infographics. And their focus is specifically on real estate industry and bringing that data together. And using through web service, RESTful APIs, they're able to import that into their systems. We're no exception to that, but we actually go the step further using a lot of the feedback from people visiting properties to tell us things that that data wouldn't show, such as this home is next to an electrical pole or something like that. Some micro data. Yes?
You mentioned prospect nurturing as a feature of your platform. What channels, and is it automated nurturing?
Well, it's a good question. As far as automating nurturing, it's not an automated relationship with a real estate agent. It's very intimate, actually. And with that, once what's automated is after you've pursued a lead on Zillow, that information is sent to our system automatically through their APIs. So that's why we're really not competitors, that we complement each other. So once that data is in the system, the agent wants to be able to follow up as quickly as they possibly can with them, but this right now they struggle to do it, technologically speaking, because they want responses by email or text message. Within our platform, they can SMS, they can send through email, they can do all the different methods of communication through our system if they want. And not only that, but they have real-time live help if they need it, when they need it, just by simply clicking on a link, and we could help them facilitate any response. You know, if they can't figure something out, we're right there to help them along the way.
Hi, you mentioned the $1.5 million and that for some reason you couldn't do like a minimum viable product. Can you help me understand why that is?
Sure. The principles of lean startup are obviously something that we all adhere to as being the big deal of today. But with minimum viable product, there are limitations, even by the author's admission, to who it's targeting. When you're talking about a 57-year-old woman, you're talking about somebody, and an adoption of technology, you're talking about someone with whom you need to sit. You need to work with them. You need to do laser eye tracking and make sure that the UX experience is one that will bring them back through time and time again. From a feature set standpoint, yes, that does work in a sense. You could just simply mock up 1 or 2 features and show it to them. But the features themselves are so interdependent, and then the usability factor is the #1 piece that's going to get me the adoption rates necessary in order to sustain the interest or grow the interest from real estate agents who are going to sign on. Otherwise, they're going to perceive it as just another piece of technology that nobody needs. But we're not, and we could prove it.
I think we're out of time.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot.
much. Appreciate it.